This is a Headgum original.
Jake and Amir, two Jews that you can't forget. In 2010, they were big on the internet. And all things considered, their success is more than fair. Now here's one more effort for only positive motivations, they swear. Another podcast, each app different from the last. It's the Swiss Army knife of shows. Meet your two emphatic hosts.
Welcome to the show, Mom and Dad.
Oh my God, it's so much fun to be here.
Yeah, really great to be here.
So you guys haven't seen Jake in over a decade. We wanted to bring you
come to address my trauma.
Jake emancipated himself a decade ago, right?
As a 28-year-old.
Yeah, you were like, you're already financially independent.
Right.
This is exciting to have you guys. One, thank you for coming all the way to LA for it. I can't
Happy
believe
to do it.
Yeah. And two, this is like us getting this other side of a story that Jake told on a podcast weeks ago about his college experience. Or lack thereof. Just a little joke to lighten the load. You were clinically depressed for a year and a half.
Yeah, about a year-ish.
No, not to dive right into it, but Jake was telling us about how he went to one college and then slowly phased himself out without telling you guys.
Exactly.
How you found out. I'm like, I wonder if your parents remember it the same way. And Jake's like, oh, we should talk to them and see their side of the story.
Yeah, then you guys were here, and
It's
one thing led to
perfect.
another.
Also, I don't trust a troubled 18-year-old's recollection of such a event versus his parents. I assume you guys have a clearer memory of what happened.
Yeah, because the way I remembered it, you guys hate me.
And I went to Yale.
Yeah, as time goes on, the memories sharpen. They don't fade.
Exactly, yes, until you die, and then it all comes into focus for one last second. We should say this is Segments, a podcast that, constantly changing. This segment, I guess we can call it, interviewing Jake's parents.
Yeah. My mom has been on the show several times. This is your third or fourth appearance, maybe?
I think third.
Wow,
I think
all right.
third, maybe fourth.
Third, but
You're
first on camera.
Yeah.
And Dad, your first appearance? Is
I
that
believe
right?
it's my first appearance. I know I've been mentioned because I got an email from some guy in Finland looking for legal help.
Yeah.
Based off some mention on a show that
guess you're
some
welcome.
banker heard and told this guy. And
I'm constantly shouting out your law practice.
In Helsinki specifically. I don't know if you know the tax code over there.
he was
Scandinavia.
fortunately he was looking for U.S. tax advice. So.
Oh, okay. So right up your alley. So really, you're welcome. I don't know if you
Yeah.
ever collected on that.
We did.
10% is kind of supposed to be split amongst Jake and myself.
Yeah, I'll offset the 10% fee against what Jake owes me.
Which actually is a great segue to the story. As Jake told it, he went to, what was your first college? Moravian, right?
Moravian, yeah.
And it was on a scholarship.
Partial scholarship, partial financial aid. I believe yeah.
And you would go less and less and less to the point where you weren't going at all, but you didn't tell your parents.
Yeah,
You didn't.
I
You assumed
essentially-
they wouldn't find out.
I left 2 or 3 weeks early before school was over, and I said that I had finished all of my finals.
Did you guys believe that?
Yes.
So
I
he
did.
shows up on like April 30th, and you're like, oh, I guess that's a little early, but what are we gonna do? We don't know this.
Yeah, I think it was a little early, but yeah, I believed he completed whatever he was going to complete.
We should say you also have 6 children, so it's not like you're keeping tabs on just Jake. There's a lot of balls.
But the triplets
in
were
the air.
pretty
That's
good,
true.
so you don't really need to look after them that
This
much.
is, they were not a lot of trouble. But also, I thought colleges would tell you as a parent if your kid had stopped coming to classes.
No, I was
and was
18.
flunking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to tell you that shit. I'm an
I had
adult.
no idea.
I'm a grown up.
Jake got a gun to the dean's head.
Hey.
Call my dad and tell him I'm doing really well.
Like, did you guys get my grades from the first semester at Moravian?
I don't recall that. I recall vaguely.
I should say you're under oath right now.
Yeah, I have a vague recollection of getting, something maybe in or towards the end of the second semester that you were, not invited back.
Mm-hmm.
And that you knew that before he got home?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was-
after.
It was after I got back.
I think it was
Yeah.
somehow after you got back.
It was also
wait,
the
is that I
age.
wasn't invited back? Not that I lost my. I thought it was that I lost whatever financial aid that I had.
I don't think that step. I don't think they took that step. I think you were just not going back.
And is that how you found out, or you found out from Jake?
I don't recall exactly. I think we somehow gradually realized that he wasn't
wait.
going back.
And were you on the same timeline as Sam over here? You're like, oh, I guess Jake's not going back.
Yeah, we're on the same timeline, but I think I knew that Jake was struggling a little bit more than Sam did.
Did Jake open up to you about like the class isn't for me?
Not really.
Or he would hide it like, oh, school's
He's-
going well.
He's
Shut up
sort
for a
of,
second.
he said school was going fine.
Phone calls.
Yeah, just like everything's fine. He was very vague though.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But most teenagers are.
yeah,
Can't get.
Well,
I
know he at one point said he didn't want to go back
Right.
for the second semester.
Yeah, but I made it sound like it was
your
my
decision.
choice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
like, well,
your
I'm going to
choice.
transfer schools.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
meanwhile, with what record can you
Yeah.
transfer?
But I think I was of a mentality back then is just if you buckled down and just did your job, you could get through anything. And maybe that was a bit of a reaction to having 6 kids and everything was very difficult. And I was really of a mentality where just do your job and get through it.
Yeah.
Even if you're a C student, as long as you get to graduation.
Yeah,
that's
if you
good
work harder, you can be a B student.
Right.
Yeah. And now it seems like I've taught you the valuable lesson that actually, if you give up repeatedly, then you can fail into success.
enough. Almost
Well,
upward.
I think you would be giving me the valuable lesson that I should have listened and been more sensitive.
Wow. That's nice to hear. Then what happened in between Moravian and the next college?
Jake, I think we could call everything a gap year. We were able to sort of like frame it in that way. It was just like a step back. And my assumption was always that he was going to go to another better college than Moravian, even though his GPA was like 1.6 or less.
I mean, he was going to
really-
take the classes at Southern, which is a fine, it's a state school, but
Closer
it's
to
a,
home.
decent
Closer to
school.
home.
And he was taking a couple of classes there. And so I was really very optimistic that if he, did his work, he could get through. And then at that point, he was writing for this school newspaper and had things published in the school paper. So I was very, optimistic that he would get, back on track.
Figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Wow. And yeah, I feel like once I left Moravian, I had some level of like, well, I don't know if you could call it success in writing for like the school paper, but I was proud of that and was like, I could always point to, I'm not doing nothing. At Moravian, it was like, I was actually doing nothing. I wasn't going to class. I was like calling you guys for money so I could go to Quiznos during the day. And there was really not really anything else going on for me there. But when I went to Southern, I didn't necessarily like my classes, but I did like writing for the paper. So if the classes weren't going well, the paper was going fine.
Right. And I think the fact that you were writing, I felt very aligned with you in that regard. I knew you were a really good writer.
Now, what about high school? Because before I even went to college, did you think I was going to go to... Did you think I was going to go to college? Because I was also a pretty bad student at high school. I believe I was kicked out of one high school.
Kicked out of one.
One high school, 2 colleges.
My expectation, I think I just sort of am conditioned to thinking that all of my kids were going to go to college. It didn't even cross my mind that
You
was
guys both went to school.
You got we
Yeah.
should say my mom went to Yale, my dad went to Columbia.
Yeah, and I didn't have a choice. I couldn't say, Dad, I want to drop out
Travel the
school.
world.
I
Find
did
myself.
actually say that at one point, and there was just laughter. I was just,
No, I think you'll be going to Yale, actually.
but with Jake, I mean, my assumption was he would go to college, despite the fact that his college counselor at his high school said he didn't think Jake was ready for college.
Emotionally or intellectually?
Yeah.
Either.
I remember
think
we
he
both felt really
just-
slighted by that, but in the end,
Yes,
he was right.
he was correct. He said,
Doctors said I would never walk again, and they nailed it.
what was his name? I guess I shouldn't come out with his name just in case.
Well,
he's
yeah.
been-
I mean,
Mr. Schroeder, right?
No, it was Richter.
No, that was a teacher.
Mr.
yeah.
Richter.
He nailed
okay.
it.
And he's a
right.
great guy.
Fucking nailed it.
So yeah, we're not throwing him under the bus.
No, he was a great guy, and he just he called it. He just said some people aren't meant for college, and I think Jake might be one of those people.
I feel
like
one of those
now
lucky people.
Nowadays, it's all like medication and like more mental health about like why this student is acting the way he is. Was that ever considered back then in like 2002? Or is it like no, college isn't for him and we're off to the next thing?
I think it was more the latter. Like
Yeah.
college isn't for him. I did wonder why we had paid for a private high school and not an
Well,
inexpensive.
because they got kicked out of public.
Well, you got but then we sent you to private because we just thought that they would.
What do you mean you got kicked out of?
I thought that I wasn't allowed to go back to North Haven.
Because of the gun incident.
No, not the kind of shit. I was skipping classes at North Haven. I guess I don't know if it was like they fully said you can't go back, but there was like some kind of like Mr. Dallai talked to you about like that I'd be better, that it would be better if I went to a different school.
you needed that was not the right place for you. Yeah, you needed more one-on-one. That
Right.
is exactly true.
Yeah, but he wasn't actually thrown out.
Yeah, I don't know if you can
I think
be
you
thrown
can't
out.
get thrown out of
Legally.
public school unless
Just
you
a-
like.
They could just
Yeah.
beg you to leave.
I had enough like in school suspension that it wasn't really worth anyone's time anymore.
That's it. And you were expelled, I believe it. There was some point.
No,
when
I was suspended a few times.
So Moravian comes and goes. Southern Connecticut State is happening. Are you guys now like, all right, we really got to stay on top of Jake, or like, he'll figure it out?
How about you?
I wouldn't say we were on top of him, but I think I was always optimistic that he would, figure it out. And I feel like we, supported him as he tried to do whatever, all the different next steps.
That's nice. Was there ever anger? Like, did you see this version of your parents back then, or were you guys like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't. No, I think that I never felt like they were angry. I think if anything, I felt like, I don't know. Maybe I felt like bad that I was disappointing them at certain points.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, I sometimes. I don't know that I felt disappointed. I worried. You kind of worry what's gonna happen, and had I known what the future held,
Yeah, it turned out
I
all right.
would. Yeah, it turned out fine. Turned out quite fine.
Turns out you don't need college necessarily.
But it
Yeah,
felt almost like
yeah.
going, like when you accidentally go off a diet. Not like it wasn't like like my parents hate me and I'm a total fuck up. It was like, oh, things are fine. Like,
I cheated.
I've had like cheat meals for 3 straight weeks. It's like, okay, I'm going to school. I'm going to class. Oh, I got to see on that paper. That's all right. I didn't go for a week and a half.
Yeah. Oopsie daisy. I hope this doesn't
Yeah.
slide me out of
Right.
college entirely.
And then I think if anything, I probably felt more like guilty than angry or like they were disappointed. I think it was all projection from me.
But you were afraid to tell them, basically.
Yeah, because I didn't want to get in trouble.
No, you don't want to get in trouble. Did trouble from the school feel like trouble to you, or like, that's fine, I don't care if my teachers are pissed at me?
No, I felt like I could always, if I had time, I could find my way out of the trouble to some slight success that I could spin in my favor.
Yeah, you just need to end on a high note.
Yeah.
Kind of like our videos back
Right,
in the day.
exactly.
So how did Southern Connecticut State end?
I think similarly to Moravian, the first semester went fine. And then the second semester, I think I like maybe signed up for 2 classes, but very quickly didn't go to them at all.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm not going to go to school this semester. I'm going to like, I think that was when I was working at the candy store.
Right.
I was like, I think I'm going to work at this candy store and go to school next year. And you guys were okay with that.
Yeah.
That sounded like a good plan to you because it's like, hey, at least he has a responsibility.
I was succeeding at the
Yeah.
candy store. They gave me the keys. They were letting me close up.
That was a fake key, actually. It was a candy key.
Yeah. Well, the manager always closed up right behind me.
And I could just use this ring pop to get in. Yeah, sure.
I think there was sort of like it was a gradual letting go of college at Southern.
Yeah.
Like, you did okay that first semester. You were writing for the paper. We were feeling hopeful. Second semester, you kind of stopped going to class. And it was like
Yeah.
a slow pulling of the rug out from under our feet.
So you say that you were feeling optimistic. What was like the low point? What was the time when you were feeling like the least optimistic? Like, wow, did you guys ever turn to each other and say, damn, I really don't know if Jake's good.
But 5 out of 6 ain't bad, children-wise.
We still got Micah.
No, I don't think I ever quite felt like that.
There's no like rock bottom, going to jail, and all this kind of crazy stuff.
I think there was an incident at Moravian, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but one of your friends was going to Lehigh, which was right near
Yeah.
Moravian, and you went to a frat party, and there was a fight,
Yeah.
and you got punched in the face, or you punched someone in the face. I don't
Somebody
know.
else punched me in the back of the head.
Okay, there was, and I was just thinking, like maybe I don't know. I was just worried about you, like your judgment didn't seem quite there.
Yeah.
And also tennis team. You were on the tennis team, which to me seemed like this huge honor, you
Yeah.
know, and I was so proud of you being on the tennis team, and you had your tennis uniform, and
Yeah, I actually stole that uniform. They wanted it back when I left, and I took it.
Right
It's a
on.
very small
see,
school. They
there you
need
go.
the uniforms
And I
back.
would have been worried about that had I known that.
Yeah.
But I think it was that stuff where I would like feeling, proud, like even going to a frat party at Lehigh. I mean, that sounds like a wholesome college activity, but then getting punched in the back of the head.
How did you know he got punched?
I think
I must have told you, right?
You told me. You didn't go to the infirmary or anything
No,
like that.
no, it wasn't that serious.
Do you remember why somebody punched you?
I think I did something. I think I was getting kicked out because of the way we were playing beer pong, and I don't remember.
Unbelievable.
It was.
You finally got upset?
It was what? Yeah. You were playing Lehigh rules. You can't swap the bounces there. I don't remember why we had done something or made fun of somebody while we were playing beer pong and we were getting kicked out. Then as we were leaving, I think I did something to deface the frat photo.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. Not the frat photo.
Yeah, those are
It was serious.
sacred.
I thought you raised a better man than that.
Yeah.
So what happens after the second college? There's
After
a
the
third.
second college, then I went to then I enrolled at the new school.
Oh, that's in New York. At that point, you were in New York, though.
Yeah, so I think
Your
I
hands are
dropped out
clean.
of
It's over.
Southern. I worked at the sweet shop. I volunteered at the hospital. So like on paper,
is
I
all
was still
good
writing
stuff.
for the paper.
And you got an apartment, too.
Yeah, and I was living with Steve over at Willow Street. So it looked like I had my life a little bit together. And then I was like, all right, I've made it to the top tier of the sweet shop. I'm basically the manager there.
The candy man.
The candy man.
I became the logo.
And I think at that point I had started my internship for college, or not internship. I was writing articles for College Humor, and I emailed Streeter and I asked if they needed an editorial intern. Streeter let me interview. I interviewed with him and Jeff Rubin at the Tribeca office. And I got the editorial internship at College Humor. So that was like, I'm going to move to New York for this internship, and I'll take classes at the new school.
Are you guys excited about that? Or you're like, I don't know about this whole College Humor thing.
I'm sure I was concerned financially as to how he was going to
Make it.
afford the
Well, actually, I
apartment.
think I have an email from you that says you're proud of me. 1 second.
Okay, hold on.
I can pull it up.
Just do a Google search for "proud of me." It's the
Well,
only one in your inbox.
It's in my starred emails. I saved it. Okay. He said, all right, this is, oh, wow. All right, August 29th, 2007. It looks like this is me talking about enrolling at classes at the new school. Hey, Dad, I just found out the prices listed in the course guide aren't really that accurate. I guess the price is closer to $800 per credit, which they didn't specify. This is me asking for cash. Each class is worth 3 credits, so it actually adds up to be over $2,000 per course. I think I maybe said it was $800 per course or something. What should I do? Register for 1, maybe? And you said, I do not want you to take on more than you can handle. So 2 is way too many.
I said 2.
No. You said if you can really handle 2 courses and do the work and complete the courses, I am okay with you taking 2 courses. But I also expect, whether it is 1 or 2 courses, that you be very careful with spending money, including the use of your cell phone, using my speed pass, etc. This is when I was using Dad's mobile speed pass to pay for gas.
So you ended up taking 1 class?
Well, so then I respond, I can definitely handle 2 courses. I was just concerned about how expensive they were. If I can become a degree student in the spring, the courses will be slightly cheaper. Also, I will be very frugal this year.
Oh.
And my dad responded, okay, good luck. I am proud of you for your success at College Humor and for following up on the courses.
Wow. Do you remember writing that?
Oh,
I
He
do
has
not.
to.
Because I wrote it for him.
I did not remember every single email. I read.
But do you remember that general gist?
Yeah.
Of like, oh, he's in New York. He's on top of shit. He's not going to spend too much cash.
Yeah,
This is good.
I mean, I was always really, as I said before, I was always, optimistic and thinking that he would
Figure it out.
See, that's interesting because I did not know that you guys were optimistic that I would.
Yeah.
would
Was that
figure it
blind
out.
optimism, or
I-
did,
well,
did he have something that you're like, oh wait, there is something there?
Well, I think he was a smart guy.
Was.
and or is a smart guy. I think he really just had to get through whatever he had to get through to be successful.
Sometimes it is the classes and or colleges are not for you.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I think at Hunter was where I finally took a creative writing course
And
and
you
I did
loved
really
it.
well. And that was the
Yeah.
first time I did well in a college course.
yeah.
And then I dropped out.
But your teacher really liked you. And I
Yeah.
remember thought you had, potential. And yeah, that was exciting. So
That was the college that I dropped out of because things were going well at College Humor. I think I've said this already,
Yeah.
but around this time when I was taking that class, Streeter said that my internship was going to be paid. And then Ricky said that I can come in as many hours as I want. So I said that my classes were all at night and then I dropped out.
Did you guys know that he was dropping out?
no.
Well, you must have known because I would have asked you for money to register for the other courses, right?
Which you did.
Feel,
Spend it on Quiznos again.
I feel like I don't know. I think maybe it's having so many kids, or maybe just Jake being Jake. If we didn't hear anything, if we didn't know there was a problem, we assumed everything was fine. And
Right.
it was probably a little bit denial, a little bit of optimism.
A little bit of distraction from the other
yeah,
kids.
that too, distraction. I definitely worried more than Dad, I think, just because I couldn't imagine a path forward. But then when College Humor really kicked in, I could imagine.
Right.
Then it
Yeah.
became
Yeah.
clear.
Was there a point where you're like, oh wow, Jake's actually doing well? It's not just blind optimism.
Probably
when-
NADPOD.
It wasn't until Carnegie.
4 months ago.
I think it was when we went on a tour of the College Humor office.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
the
brought
snacks were
and,
just
and you
amazing.
guys had free
Yeah.
snacks. Yeah, that
Cereal
was
dispensers
incredible.
as far as the eyes can see.
And then when people I knew started knowing who Jake was because their kids watched Jake and you.
Yeah.
I had friends who would bring their kids over to the house for a sighting of Jake.
Did you guys like those videos? Because we've been rewatching some of the old ones, and we were
They're-
like, these are awful.
I
were fun.
I thought they were great.
Really?
Yeah.
Even like the old, terrible, unfunny ones. You loved them all.
I loved them all in degrees. Some of them I loved like a lot.
But you were never like, oh my god, this is kind of embarrassing.
Never.
No, not at all.
Interesting.
Never.
That's
And I
nice.
mean, I think the content, I think humor now, it's harder to find stuff that's genuinely funny
Mm-hmm.
and fresh and different. You guys created these characters.
Well, we invented the funny man, straight man dynamic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
you
us.
totally did.
We were the first YouTube video ever, really. And then everything took off from there. But
It's
my parents
really-
don't understand it. Just maybe the language barriers. They don't watch the videos, or if they did, they wouldn't fully understand what they are. So it was funny to have Jake's parents, you guys, watch them, and I'm like, I wonder if they even like this stuff.
Oh,
Well,
there-
I don't know. Jake may have inherited some of his sense of humor from us. So
Interesting, because you said it skipped a generation, but
Right. My grandparents were hilarious. These guys are sticks in the mud.
So that's cool. So then by the time Jake and Amir and the college humor stuff rolled around, you're like, okay, I can finally maybe rest easy about the whole not finishing college thing.
yeah.
It had to be partially that I stopped asking you guys for money at a certain point too, right? Because
Yeah, and you started giving people money.
yeah, well, that
Like
didn't
you
happen
started-
until more recently.
Yeah. But I mean, even you're charitable. That's just you. You're very generous.
and at some point we didn't have to guarantee his leases.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Real
great.
sign of
70
success.
times rent or whatever the insane rule is. It's like,
Yeah,
trust me, I have $190,000 in the
it's
bank.
not going to be an issue.
Let me live here, Jesus.
Yeah, God, there were a couple times that I ran out of money in New York doing paying rent, but I don't think I told you guys that. Oh no, yeah, I borrowed money for you one time when I was like 24 or something.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I mean, it was harder to send money somewhere too because it was before Venmo and everything.
Yeah, wow.
Western Union.
Right.
Yeah, now the kids are fucking Venmo requesting their parents from college.
You don't have to money transfer.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of interesting. If I could have just done that without even talking to you guys, that would have been really sad.
Well, they still would have to approve it on their app.
Yeah, I guess so. But I feel like you learn a valuable life skill, like tactfully asking your parents for money.
Yeah, it has to be.
Like
a
you
phone call.
read that email, right?
Yeah, that was a really nice email.
Yeah.
That was a good email. Congrats on the email. Email wise, it was awesome. Regrets? Do you have a few? Or hey, it all worked out. I think everyone did their best job.
I have some. Oh, you mean about this in particular? Or?
Yeah, all's well that ends well in a way.
I know, as I said, I wish I was more sensitive, and I wish I said, second semester, don't go back to college, or maybe don't go to Moravian, go someplace local, or take a year off. But I was, too much of, you gotta,
Stick with
go to, straight the intended path, and you just got to get through it. So I shouldn't have been like that.
No, I don't. I think that's very sweet. But I don't think that I don't think that I felt that very intensely. I guess I don't know. Maybe I did.
That seems like the hardest part about parenting is like, when do you stop telling your kid to power through and figure it out, and when do you say, okay, you
Right.
can
'Cause
give up
sometimes
now?
you do want them to.
Right, like I didn't want to go to Jewish sleepaway camp because I was afraid of being away from my home for 3 weeks. And now as a 41-year-old, I'm like, I wish my parents made me do that. But then it's like, if I'm crying and I'm 11 years old, I'm like, I don't want to go to Jewish summer camp.
Yeah.
Do I actually wish they threw me in a van and threw me into a Jewish summer camp and left me there?
And I wish you guys made me play soccer for longer, because I actually suck at soccer, and Micah's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
and
well,
I think if you
force him
didn't
to
let
play
me
the
quit
lessons
soccer,
more.
then
Well, you're pretty good now. You came back.
it's really all heart though. I don't really have any game. I don't have any.
But
soccer
Amir, do you
IQ.
have is your mom kind of do you have a good cop, bad cop situation at your house?
With my
Because-
parents or with me and my parents?
with your parents.
A little bit. My mom's she didn't want us to learn things the hard way, so she's created rules you have to do this, you don't have to do this. Don't drive at night, blah blah blah. Taking the keys away. It's not let him do whatever he wants and he'll figure it out. But then likewise, I didn't drink or do drugs in high school, which seems like it was a good thing. But then maybe you can zoom out and be maybe he should have done more of that stuff in high school. Maybe it would have been more gratifying if you forced him to do the Jewish summer camp thing.
Was your dad more strict, or
No.
he was more lenient? He was more kind of you do.
Yeah, I think
He
my dad
just-
was more listen to your mom, and my mom had the rules.
Because I think Sam and I just had such wildly different approaches. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Jake, but I just feel like I was a lot of love and it's okay and you're going to be fine, honey. And
Yeah.
Dad was more
Call me for tax advice.
I really think that's almost what I keep on thinking of, because you're saying like that you wish you were more sensitive or like let me do stuff, but I think it was Mom is very very emotional and also like will give more words of affirmation. She'll share more. And I don't think you were necessarily mean, but you were just more quiet and reserved. You never really said anything that was mean to me. Like if you look at this bringing back the email.
Yeah.
But her email.
But I think maybe just me being young, I took the silence for disapproval because I was disapproving of myself. It's almost like the reflection of your silence is whatever I was gonna tell myself.
Yeah, I think maybe if you did something that was, that would have logically disappointed me, you probably could have sensed disappointment on my part.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, it all worked out.
It really did. It really did.
I mean, you're sitting on a nice couch right now.
Yeah.
The posters are cool.
Everything is cool.
We have a podcast, which is
Pretty
kinda
amazing.
like a TV show.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I failed out of college, but you never thought that one day I'd have a podcast.
The joke's on all of us. Should they stick around? Should we do another segment?
Yeah, let's do one more segment.
I wanted to run the poems I've been writing past you.
Oh.
Because I know Jake gets his love of poetry from you. Or maybe it's from Sam.
Not from me.
Okay, yeah. So I've been trying to write poems for Jake, try to trick him into thinking they're real award-winning poems.
And I listened to this segment where Jake read a Mary Oliver poem, an AI poem, and his poem, which I thought actually was pretty decent.
Thanks, Mom.
I really did. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
It was
really
no
good.
programmatic algorithmic one that was spit out in less than a nanosecond, but it was still pretty good.
Well, that one mentioned Mary Oliver by name, which was ideal.
Yeah, that was so strange. That was,
The
yeah.
woods,
but that
the kind
was
that Mary Oliver walked through.
I like the Ha Eun poem.
Yes, okay. So let's take a break, come back, and we'll talk about the Ha Eun poem. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of our show.
Yes!
Well, you've been using Squarespace for what, 30, 50, 100 years at this point?
1,000 years.
You built the
Yes.
first website on Earth.
That's right. It was out of stones.
David.com. It was Michelangelo's David.com.
It's it's David, and he's touching a mouse.
That's
instead of
really
God's
cool,
finger.
actually.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. an
That's
old,
actually a
like,
really
Mac
good
OS
Super Bowl
browser.
commercial.
Keep that in mind for next year. Well, if you want to build that website or any website, you can use Squarespace, which makes it incredibly easy to, drag and drop and professionally design something without necessarily knowing how to code or design anything.
That's correct.
You can sell merch. You can have an online store. You can even purchase a domain name through Squarespace.
Yes.
For example, what can people buy at the time of recording?
Amir Blumenfeld buttpics.com. And you can populate that website with
all
pictures.
these. That's right. For the last year, I've been taking a photo of you.
I installed a toilet cam at your house.
.com. Oh, that one is taken. I found Jaundice Cat. Jaundice Cat.
That's like a yellow cat.
Yeah, like a cat that's sort of not
Kind of like a
getting certain
Heathcliff or a
vitamin.
Garfield, but yellow instead of orange.
Yes, exactly.
Very
Like
good.
he's had lasagna, but he also hasn't seen the sun in years.
That's right.
At
That's
a certain
very good.
point.
That's very good.
You're burning the candle at both ends. Cat.com.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy that or potentially yourname.com,
That's a good one to have.
any website or domain, very easy, very affordable. And if you go to squarespace.com/segments and use that coupon code segments, you can actually save an extra 10% off.
Whoa.
They're already low prices.
Whoa.
So, if you've had an idea for a while and you're saying, you know what, I just need the kick in the butt, pretend we're talking to you. This is it. Daryl, go off and do
Gordon.
it. Yeah. Even if your name isn't Daryl and Gordon, you should still do it. Take this as a sign. Squarespace.com/segments. And then when you're ready to launch, just use that coupon code segments for extra 10% off. Woo! Thanks, Squarespace.
Legends!
All right, we're back. One of my most, I guess, influential pieces was a poem I called Ha Eun, which I made about a Korean immigrant, kind of like I moved from Israel to America. when I
Oh,
was
don't
two.
make
this
it- yeah,
guy
don't
moved
make-
from
yeah.
Korea to try to trick Jake into thinking it wasn't about me.
Right.
And it was called Ha Eun. You have it on your phone, right?
Ha Eun
Okay.
by H.E. Kim.
Also fake, yeah. But that sounds pretty real, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, you don't think that's me.
Tap as Harrison hopscotched across kindergarten chalk towers. Clap as Harry graduates, now dancing across a stage in gowns and hats. Disguised symbolically at first, then veiling historically. Ha Eun sits now to mourn Ha Eun, then Harrison, then Harry. Now that I've read it a third or fourth time, it's awful.
Honestly,
let's go line by line.
I thought it was better when you read it now. I'm like, okay, that was my best attempt at a quote-unquote real poem.
Let's go stanza by stanza.
Well, first
Right.
impressions, when you hear that, does that sound like it could have been an award-winning poem, or does that sound like a 6-year-old trying his hardest to make it sound like a real poem?
It doesn't sound award-winning, to
Okay.
be honest.
And
But
that's fair. Honestly, I don't even like it that much.
But there
It
is a middle
doesn't-
ground between 6-year-old and award.
Yeah. High schooler?
yeah,
High school writer poem?
yeah, but it's like
Higher.
almost.
Really?
Sam's
So
bumping
her
it
dad
up.
liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's a good poem.
What about
Alright.
What about Sadie? Did you like his poem Sadie?
I don't remember Sadie.
I don't
Sadie was
remember
the,
Sadie either, yeah.
that was the ancestry one.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
let's stick to Ha Eun.
Okay, Ha Eun. Oh, yeah. So what did you think about that one?
I actually thought it had. The flow was really interesting. It was all consistent with the character you created.
Thank you.
The language wouldn't be fluid.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was like kind of. It was structured well for what it was. I thought that
You're
the
really
structure
reaching
kind
to
of-
give him a compliment.
No,
Do you feel like
no,
that?
it's really true.
But I like it.
I like the simplicity of the language. There was nothing about it that seemed overblown or like you were trying too hard.
Yeah, like using words that nobody uses just because I wrote a cool poem.
But tell me, tap as Harrison hopscotched across kindergarten chalk towers.
That's really good. That was my favorite part.
I feel like hopscotched. I don't think it needed to be past tense. Is that fair?
Watch as, is it watch as or is it clap as?
Tap as.
Tap as Harry, yeah.
What does tap? What does that mean?
Like he's tapping and then as a kid he's Harry playing hopscotch, written in sort of a flowery poetic language.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to his high school graduation and his name is different now.
Can I read it on your phone? I'm sorry to.
Yeah, of course.
I just want
You
to.
pass this phone to
like
my
kind
mother?
of a.
He obviously doesn't want you to read it.
It might be weird when you read it, but just know that
Oh no.
I didn't format it like that.
It does. Ooh, sorry. I lost the format.
Oh wow.
Classic parent.
It was
So
classic.
embarrassing.
No.
You need glasses, honey. Dark glasses.
Oh, thanks, honey.
It's really good.
All right, these are a
actually.
little. Okay.
Yeah. Moved to tears a little bit, I think, reading it. It's kind of exciting.
Dad, what did you like about Ha Eun?
I just thought the name progression was so cool. It just told so much.
I also thought it was cool, and it did tell you so much. And I feel like we've always had more of that practical connection versus Jake and Laura.
I still like hopscotched across kindergarten chalk towers. I really do. I love that little stanza.
Okay,
I'm
but then
a little
he's,
bit-
1 second, she's talking. And what did you love about me?
What else did H.E. Kim say in this poem?
Kim.
I get a little confused with disguised symbolically at first, then veiling historically. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not confused.
She figured
I
it
get
out.
it. I
What do
just
you
figured
get? What
it
does that means
out
nothing.
because disguised symbolically is in
name.
his name.
Yeah, he didn't want to be known as Ha Eun because like the kids would make fun of him.
Right.
Disguise,
right.
but why
and
symbolically? What makes it disguised symbolically?
the letters themselves are symbols,
Symbols,
rather than
okay.
right.
I
Am
think
right?
Jake just didn't understand the poem, and that's why he is tearing it down.
Then
Yeah,
veiling historically.
Veiling historically, like putting veils over his own history.
Right, because that might have
With
been
his name,
father's name
Harrison,
or grandfather.
Harry.
Grandfather's
Yeah.
name, yeah.
I get it.
And then the last line.
Um,
In terms of the last line, did you think I stuck the landing, or was it
sits
sort of?
now to mourn Ha Eun,
Yeah.
then Harrison, then
I think the last
That's
line is
really
good. I
good.
think the first line is fine. I think the middle one where he's just graduating, not enough there.
Wait, so did you major in poetry at college?
That's actually a really good question. I didn't. In fact, I was trying to prove to Jake that despite his love of poetry, I could write something quickly that would move him.
And yet
in
you
the
still
same
have
way
not
that his
been able.
real poems do.
You haven't been able to.
Yes, and it's something that Jake sort of has. It's an intangible quality. I'm reading a poem. He's like, that one moves me emotionally. I can't put my finger on why, but I know you didn't write it. Mm-hmm. This one did not do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the middle stanza was more about
I think
him, like
Jake, actually, you're completely right about that. Jake's good with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's top and bottom, great.
middle
middle,
stanza. That's the
little weak.
problem.
You could work on
Little
that
weak.
though.
Yeah, you think so? Like,
Yeah,
there's,
because
yeah.
he doesn't
there's a
have to
foundation
graduate.
there.
You're obsessed with
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
because he's hopscotching
But
at
I
school.
think-
then he's graduating, and you know what? It's the graduating across the stage and then sitting to mourn Ha Eun.
Yeah.
If you want to it kind of condenses this history. Is he sitting at graduation or is he sitting later in life? I'm not really sure what's happening.
It's kind of interesting. Then.
I think it would be hopscotch to like maybe marriage or maybe the birth of a child.
Oh, interesting.
And then to the end of his life. I think
Yeah.
that's you're trying to.
But he's not there yet.
So he should.
yeah.
Amir should continue working on it and develop the more middle
In real
stanzas.
time.
The middle
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you need middle stanzas plural.
Well, at this
Right.
point, Ha Eun is bunk.
Do you guys want to play
All right,
Hogwash
so-
or Ha Eun?
I'm sure you're familiar with that game. Hogwash or Ha Eun.
Do you know how that works? You remember this one, right?
You have to say the right word.
No, you actually choose whichever one you want, either Hogwash or Ha Eun, and whoever laughs is eliminated.
Right.
Oh.
So I'll say either Hogwash or Ha Eun, then Amir, then Mom, then you.
Then
Or
Harry, then Harrison,
Yeah.
then Hogwash.
You can say either Hogwash or Ha Eun. The object is to just not laugh.
Okay. We'll give it a shot. I think your parents will win. Okay, let's try.
Hogwash.
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 Ha Eun.
So Jake's eliminated. That was really good.
All right. So it's Amir and my mom and dad.
Playing that classic game, once again, if you're just watching, we're playing Hogwash or Ha Eun. Ha Eun.
Hogwash.
Hogwash.
You guys did great. I mean, there's nothing else to say.
It's my mom versus my dad.
Yeah, all right.
God.
Someone's gonna win.
I think it will be me. All right. Hogwash.
Ha Eun.
Hogwash.
Ha Eun.
Hogwash.
Ha Eun.
Hogwash.
Hogwash.
Oh, you got her.
It's a game that's sweeping the
It
nation.
really is spreading. I thought I saw two high schoolers playing
it outside,
I
yeah.
swear, I think I saw that for whatever reason.
my
Exciting way
God.
to end.
Wow.
it. Great
Yeah.
job.
Great job.
Oh,
Thanks
this
for
is so
going
much
down
fun.
memory lane. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like we went to couples therapy or parent therapy. We really
did.
worked through
It
some
did
stuff.
a little in a good way.
Yeah.
It really,
Very
really
cathartic.
did.
We'll get the other kids in here one at a time too, so we could sort of audit you.
Yeah.
See how you did.
It's a good idea.
Was anybody as time consuming as Jake? We all have our own issues.
Jake had he was so popular and charismatic actually that was almost a problem in and of itself. I think
That was too cool.
You were
For
you
school.
were a little. I felt like I had to somehow tamp
Dampen.
you down.
Have to dull this light.
No, I remember the speech that I gave for your bar mitzvah about you, and I said that you had a lot of like kind of power, and that I wanted you to use it for good.
And did I?
Yeah,
Not always.
ultimately, you really did. You did.
Ultimately, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Icons.
And we're back.
Yes.
Your parents are gone.
They left in a huff. I
That
don't know
was
what you
so
said or did to them.
weird. Yeah, it was crazy to have them here.
My mom threw her water at you. I guess we cut just before you said whatever you said
I
to
said,
her.
I hissed at her.
Tossed her water at you.
Yeah.
My dad tried to attack you. I had to hold him back.
Could we roll that? Or we weren't rolling on
we
that?
weren't rolling on
we
that.
weren't rolling on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
they left.
I feel like cooler heads prevailed. /
Not really. They
Angrier
had to
heads
leave.
left.
Yeah, angry heads left.
Yeah, and now
I
I'm
don't know
fine.
what you did. It
I'm
couldn't have just been
scratched
the
up.
hiss.
All my chest is scratched
Yeah,
up.
right.
I'm surprised it's not leaking through this shirt.
On the theme of this lie, we're actually going to play a game called Two Truths and a Lie.
Good segue. I got mine written down. You just thought up
Yeah.
two truths and a lie off the top of your head.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we'll start with yours since you might forget them.
Okay. I've been to 49 of 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
Anything?
It feels true, but it might be like 48. So let's hear the other two.
I once got 14 stitches.
That feels true.
I once pooped on the floor in a public restroom.
So it's the first or third one is the lie. I'll say the first one's the lie. You've been to 48 or 47 states.
What restroom do you think I pooped on the floor of?
I think you had like some sort of diarrhea or bad situation when you were like 9 or 10.
Well, you should know that the point of two truths and a lie is to humble brag.
Yeah.
So I've been to 49 states.
Oh.
I did get 14 stitches.
Oh.
Both pretty cool. And pooping on the floor of a bathroom.
I did that too. Hoorah!
That's one thing I wouldn't cop to publicly.
Really?
Yeah, that's a lie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Good game.
Thanks.
Let's see if you can beat this one, though.
Okay.
These are 3 sport-related ones.
All right.
I
I feel like
played.
this should be about you.
They are about me.
Okay, all right,
yeah.
good.
The league leader in yards per catch was Yancey Thigpen in 1989.
It's not you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. These ones are about me. Okay.
Nancy Thigpen.
Yancey
Sorry.
Thigpen. I played flag football last Thanksgiving. Doable. I turned my ankle playing tennis last week. Interesting.
Then why?
I
then
never
why aren't
learned
you
how to
watching the
swim. I just kind of figured it out.
That one seems so true for you. Oh,
Again, I played football last Thanksgiving.
yeah.
I turned my ankle playing tennis last week.
Yeah.
I never learned how to swim. I just sort of figured it out.
Turned your ankle. Would that mean like I almost injured it, but I didn't? Like I twisted it. I like walked it off.
Yeah.
That seems,
It could have been a tweak.
Yeah. That seems very in play. But I do believe there was a tennis injury that happened to Cohen. So that maybe is just why it's top of mind.
Yeah.
Flag football seems like the kind of thing that Billy Scafuri would organize for everybody over Thanksgiving because he's just a good-natured,
Like a
good
turkey
old
bowl.
American boy like that. The swimming, I just can't really picture you learning how to swim. So
You're saying they all sound true,
No, I think the lie sounds the most lie-esque,
which is what?
which is that you turned your ankle.
Trying not to get emotional. But you're wrong.
Really?
I tweaked my ankle playing tennis last week.
You did.
Yes. I sort of hit a backhand, and then when I landed, I had my ankle rolled, and I fell to the ground.
Interesting.
A little sore, but ultimately fine. It wasn't a full twist.
Yeah. All right.
Never learned how to swim is correct. I never took like lessons. I was just like, all right, that looks like swimming, and I can sort of figure it out, but I'm not very good
You're
at
old
it.
enough that you're like, okay, I flail my body.
Yes,
That's it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or like I watched the Olympics. I was like, sort of, I could do that, but I never like learned the technique with like twist to breathe, twist to breathe, like like the fucking doggy paddle, the breaststroke.
Right. If you jumped in a pool now, what
I
would
would
your
die.
stroke?
I would die in 15
Sink to
seconds.
the bottom like a stone. Immediately inhale.
I fill my lungs up with water, get on my back, and go to the floor.
So you didn't really play flag football?
Did not play flag football. It just sounds like something I would have done.
Yeah, it sounds like something Billy Scafuri would have organized.
Yeah, I feel like he has done that before.
Yeah.
Maybe on Christmas. But yeah, I was definitely not invited. I haven't played flag football probably since 7th grade.
Wow. Yeah.
The look on your face when you guessed the tennis injury.
In retrospect, I should have guessed the flag football because I definitely
Yeah.
can't see you doing it.
Right, like what position would I play? And it's too cold outside. I'm with my family.
Yeah.
I'm not
You
gonna
might play
just-
left out. Like you're not
like wide
invited.
receiver,
No, like everyone else is playing and you're left out.
like left tackle.
Yeah, no, not left tackle. Like you're not invited. You're not told
QB.
about. You're left out.
Yeah,
You're left out of the line. You were warming the bench.
that one was the lie.
Yeah. Are you okay?
There was a game organized, and I was left out, but that wasn't my position. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
So that insult was added to injury.
So that insult, I didn't understand it.
Nice. Good job. You embarrassed
Over my
me.
head.
I don't feel shame.
You tried to embarrass me, but it didn't work. I didn't get it.
This guy's too dumb to realize he's even being insulted. All right. Good games.
Great games.
I'm glad your parents were here to get to the bottom of that.
Me too.
Did you learn anything?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting just to see, like, I feel like a big part of my history was how much I disappointed my parents or how much I failed, et cetera, et cetera. But having them here and then kind of remembering they did give me a lot of chances and really believed in me.
Yeah, they were sort of optimistic more
it
than
was just
anything
really
else.
nice.
Yeah. In fact, it might have undone everything that you've done so far. Notice
Right.
that you've been trying to prove them wrong.
Right. Yeah. I never
You're
did
disappointed in me.
anything-
Watch
yeah,
this
right.
shit.
Yeah,
now they're
no.
like, oh,
No,
we were
I
never
I
disappointed.
never succeeded to prove
Yeah.
anyone wrong. I actually succeeded because I just kept on getting propped up after mistake
Yeah.
after mistake.
Right.
Which is great parenting.
You sort of like you stumbled, but since you were on a hill, you were just sort of like winning the race by accident.
Yeah, kind of.
So now you can quit because you don't have to sort
You
of
should quit while you're ahead.
chase after their approval anymore.
That's
You already
right.
have it.
Yeah, evidently.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah, we should have your parents on. I'm sure they would actually admit to being disappointed in you.
For being on. I wonder if my parents would do this show. They would be like, what are you talking about? It would be like, I don't understand.
I don't think we'd be able to get a word in edgewise.
What we'd have to do is record them at a dinner table and call it a podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should do that.
retroactively.
I'm here for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. However you're consuming this.
Means a lot.
We're also on our Patreon, patreon.com/JA, making new videos every Thursday.
That's right.
And we'll be back here next Monday, of course. And see you next week. If you have any segment ideas, let us know. Bye, everybody.
That was a Headgum original.